taken out.
Well, your website would not have evidence proving that the Constitution applies to Jason. So you had mentioned a return should be filed. So
Well, I'm looking at the income amount because he has an income amount.
Okay.
So he does have an income, yeah.
But does the income prove your Constitution applies to him?
I don't know anything about that, sir. I know
Okay.
that there is tax law whereas if you have a certain amount of income that you are required to file a return.
And wouldn't the Constitution have to be applicable before your code was applicable?
I couldn't tell you all of that, sir. I don't know
Oh.
about all the codes.
Okay, so you're not qualified to determine whether the Constitution and laws apply, and he's required to file a return.
I couldn't tell you if he was required to file a return. If you feel as though he's not required to follow the return, then you can always respond back to the letter indicating that he's not required to file a return or he's not qualified or that he can file exempt.
Yeah, they're not letting him do that for some reason.
Okay.
The form letter doesn't say, explain to us why you're not required. The form letter says, immediately provide your employee with a corrected Form W-4. If you don't submit, we may determine that you aren't, and what they'll do is they'll have a lock-in letter ordering the employer to take his money and give it to the IRS. So we don't have the option of according to this letter. That's why I'm asking you. That's why we're calling. So Ms. is not qualified. Who at the IRS can we speak to who would be qualified to determine that he's required to file a return and a W-4?
Well, I can see if I can transfer you over to an area in tax law if they do take any tax law questions to see filing requirement. I can put that up for you.
Okay, and just before you do that, you're not qualified, and there's nothing before you that would prove that just because he has income that your Constitution applies to him.
It's nothing for me. I'm not trained in that area.
Okay.
So I mean, if I'm not trained in something regarding the codes and different things of that law, no, I would say that I'm not trained, so I would not know.
Okay, so it wasn't accurate. You weren't accurate to say before that he is you said a return should be filed. That you're not qualified to say that.
Based on the income that I see on the account or on his W-2 information, the income alone can indicate that a person can be that is required to file a return.
If you are qualified to determine that the Constitution and laws apply in the first place.
Well, the Constitution law does apply in a sense of if you have a certain amount that you should be filing a tax return. So I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs about it, sir, because I'm not trained in that area. If you'd like for me to look up the information and transfer you over if I possibly can, I would very well do so.
That would be great. However, I just want to clarify based on what you just said. Can you just explain to me exactly how the income...
No, I cannot explain that to you. I'm just going to transfer you over to a person regarding filing requirements, and then they will be able to explain that to you in detail. Okay?